I've been here for about 3 hours.
It's great.
And I'm loving it, but I haven't really got a chance. We've been in cars going from place to place, so I've seen a lot of people out on the streets and stuff, just kind of milling around, and it looks like a lot of fun. But I am looking forward to walking the floor and just seeing what it's like. But it's a little overwhelming. Nah.
You're gonna brave.
This is it.
He's brave. Very brave.
Oh, am I gonna get harassed?
No, people
Not really,
not
no.
really harassing.
Nah, everybody. I've been to other cons and stuff and walked around the floor, and everybody's just friendly and like they wave and say hi. So I'm assuming they'll be cool down
It's
here.
just like a lot more people.
Well, I'm not crazy about crowds, so maybe I should. Maybe I'll.
If you don't like crowds, this is not the place to be.
Well, I was saying like I don't mind if I've got a destination, so I'm going somewhere. But if I'm just kind of wandering and it's just like hordes of people, I'm kind of like, well, where's everybody going? Like, let's get there. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It might.
I have a quick question now. What do you think about the progression of your character since you got introduced? It looked like you were just going to be kind of reoccurring, and then it just became bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I was extremely happy about that. I loved the show as soon as I got on it. I actually hadn't heard of it when I started in the show, but I watched it as soon as I was cast, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And then I was working with everybody, was great. And then dying at the end of the third season, Jack said, oh, don't worry, we can bring you back. We'll bring you back. This is what we do. We got artifacts, we can bring you back. And I was like, okay. But until the deal's done, until you start, I didn't even know if they were picked up for another season, all these kind of things. So I was incredibly happy to be back, and I feel like they've created written a really nice character for me, and kind of fit me into the family a bit. I think Jinks is a bit of an outsider. Just that's his personality. He's a little bit standoffish, a little bit cranky, but I think that he's sort of found a little bit of a place in this family. And the longer that it goes through, the more comfortable, the more confident he is with these people. And so there's just more of that into the fifth season. Just really him, becoming more friends and more family with this already like really tight knit group. So, but yeah, I would love to keep going and going. It's one of my favorite characters that I've ever played. So yeah.
You've actually crossed over now too to Lost Girl.
Oh yes, yeah.
So you've actually become you do 2 series at once on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, that was I actually really like Lost Girl too. That was a fun and a totally different character, so it was fun to play that as well. But yeah, just lucky, like right time, right place. They both shoot up in Toronto and had a break between seasons, and I had actually worked with Jay Firestone, who produces Lost Girl, on another show, and it was about a year or a year and a half before Lost Girl happened. I was working on this other show, and he said, "Dude, I got another show called Lost Girl. You'd be great for one of our leads, kind of like romantic interest." And I was like, "Okay, like great." And a year and a half later, it came to be. So that was very, very just sort of random and very lucky for me. But I really enjoyed working on that. I really worked with the girls mostly, and I had a blast. They were awesome. So yeah, I'm in the sci-fi world now. I'm officially.
You're now an icon.
I'm entrenched in the sci-fi world. So yeah.
But do you think it's gone kind of mainstream here? I mean, you look around here. You said you've only been here for 3 hours. You're gonna walk on the floor.
Yeah.
This has got to be a fan. It's quite an experience.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was in Dragon Con last year, so that was pretty big as well. But I've been to like other cons, so I know sort of what to expect. But it's really the size, I guess, that's so going to be sort of over the top for me. And the other interesting thing too is, I feel like, I guess there's most of the stuff here is sort of genre stuff and whatever. But even some of the stuff, I'm like, oh, would that even sort of fit into what Comic-Con's about? Like some of the stuff, but I guess it does. It's like sort of just broadening and growing. So yeah, I think there is a huge mainstream aspect to it, and I think that we all have a bit of a like nerd deep down somewhere. Like I read comic books, I loved it, and like the idea that everybody can just come here and like support and get to check out all the things that they love in one place on one weekend with like 100,000, 150,000 people, whatever it is, 200,000, whatever. That's amazing. Yeah, it's just such an amazing gathering, and obviously it seems pretty well organized, and I don't see any fighting or anything out there. It's just like a bunch of people hanging out and getting to check out what they love. So it's pretty cool.
If I can ask a quick question, I know this whole show coming to an end has to be bittersweet.
Yeah.
Can you just say anything about how what's in your head, what how you feel about it? Just the whole. I know you're still filming this last episode.
Well, it's tough, because like I was saying before, I really enjoy this character. I really enjoy this world. I love working with these guys. So it's sad on sort of two levels, because one, I was when I read the final episode, I was just thinking like these characters that we've spent so much time and we really love doing and being a part of, like they're gone. You know what I mean? It's almost like they die in a way when it's sort of the end. So it's kind of like, I mean, maybe a little dramatic, but it just kind of hit me. I was like, oh, that's really, really sad, when you love these characters. And also, just on a personal note, like with these actors and that, everybody goes their separate ways and you don't know when you're going to see them again. Luckily, there's stuff like cons that, hopefully we'll be able to do and bump into each other and that. But you really, like, I live up in Toronto. Everybody lives different places. Wherever you got to work, you travel for work. So it's kind of sad because you never know when you're going to see these people that you spent so much time with and got to do these really exciting, fun things with. So it's definitely bittersweet. And it's the stuff's gonna come to an end eventually, but when it does, it's still a bit of a bummer.
Now, season is ending.
Yeah.
It's all ending. But out of all of the artifacts you've played with on the show, and that you're going to play with, which one would you take with you?
Well, I really love the Teslas. Like that's everybody asks about artifacts, but I just think the design of them is so cool. And whenever we get them in a scene, I'm just like, yes. Like sometimes I have to carry a gun. Like ATF, they'll give me a gun, and I'm like, can I have a Tesla? And they're like, no, someone else has got it or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I would definitely love one of those. I would love the metronome that brought me back to life as a character, because it's just like, I don't know, metronome's kind of cool. I'd love to put it on my thing, and I just think it's like a very interesting looking artifact, and it was very specific to my character and my storyline. So I would really like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I can steal it off the aisle somewhere. And like, I don't know where it went. I don't know. I think we've all been eyeing things in the warehouse. We're like, oh, that's pretty cool. What about that? But I think most of the stuff has sort of been, found homes, or they're archiving some of that stuff. So I don't know if we'll get it. But
can you talk a little bit about the differences between, say, you talked about all you guys being like a family, but basically, really, your character's closest with Claudia.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of compare and contrast the relationship with Claudia versus the other people on the team?
Well, I think it's sort of like an age thing in a way where we are, the youngest, and even though when Jinks first came on the show, I think there was a bit of like, Claudia kept saying like, I'm the senior agent, and he's like, I know, so it's just that sort of dynamic where it's like really brother or sisterly, and because we've been paired up so much together, I mean, that's how that relationship develops, and I think, Claudia was looking for, obviously, and that's why they brought a character in that would sort of be her peer in a way. I mean,